Hi, I'm Mindy Yoshikawa, and today I have a silhouette tutorial to share using Shapes by Lori Whitlock. For today's tutorial, I thought I would share how to create stitching holes for a template or a stitching template that perfectly matches some of Lori's shapes. So to get started, I'm going to just assemble some of the pieces that I have out, which I will have linked at my blog. And I'm going to size the card base to 4 1/4 by 5 1/2. I realized later in a second that I actually sized it incorrectly. But this scalloped panel is actually intended for an 8 1/2 by 11 page background, but it works pretty well for an A2 size card. And I'm just going to tweak it a little bit and elongate it so that it fully fits the 4 1/4 by 5 1/2 size, so there's an even space around all of them. And I realized right here that my card base wasn't actually the right size. I couldn't figure out why it wasn't centered all the way around. So this grass border is part of Lori Whitlock's spring borders, so I'm going to size it to 4 1/4 inches wide. And it's going to be a little bit difficult to see here with all of the layers. That's why I kept my original off to the side where I had already filled in all the colors. And for my sentiment, I created a little box that was also 4 1/4 by, I think, 3/4 inches wide or high. This starts to get a little jumbled and difficult to see when it's not filled in with a color. And this is a butterfly that came with several different shapes. I believe it came with a flower and an Easter egg or something. I'm ungrouping it and doing a release compound bath because I only want the outline, and then I'll tie baker's twine around it for the antennas so I can delete all these shapes. And these clouds came with one of Lori Whitlock's other cards that had a hot air balloon, and so I'm gonna just assemble these. And in my original plan, I had planned to have that go off, as you can see in the card there, but when I showed my card at the end, I ended up flipping this and scooting it over when I actually assembled my card. So I thought I would do that for this video. I also flipped this one. Now, because I'm thrifty, I decided to cut off what's already hanging off, and I'm just holding the shift key so that oops. Well, normally if I wait patiently, the shift key makes it a perfectly straight line, but in both of these cases that didn't happen, but oh well. I cut it off with my scissors after I assemble it on the card. Now for the flower, now we're going to get to the actual stitching template. So I'm duplicating it so that I have an extra. However, I realized right afterwards that I'm going to have to duplicate it with the larger size, so I might as well size it first. Now I will duplicate it. And then the little one that goes inside, I sized it just a hair over 1 inch. And I'll set that one aside. And for my stem, I probably should have sized it at the same time, but I'm just sort of eyeballing what I had done the first time, which was right around that size right there. and the stem is quite long, and I don't need it that long for my card, so I'm gonna once again cut off some of the stems so that I don't have wasted pattern paper that I cut it out of. So turning to my knife tool again. Just recently changed it so that my knife tool automatically shuts off after the first cut, and I'm having trouble getting used to it, but in the long run I think I will like it a lot. So I'm going to set that aside. And so now I'm actually going to share how I created the dotted template. Apologize that it took so long. So I experimented with a bunch of different fonts, and I found that the easiest way to do this is to create holes with the letter O. And so I found that Courier New is the best font that gives you the most round O in a lowercase o. And I just changed these to 4-point size, but it's a little small for you to see here, so I enlarged it a little bit while I continue to type. So I'm just doing space lowercase o, space lowercase o, and you can do it pretty quickly. And then when I get a pretty decent sized line of them, I will shrink it down to 4-point because I tried it in a variety of different sizes, and that seemed to be the best size. Now I'm going to switch it to 4-point, and I'm going to change the character spacing to 200%, and in hindsight I could probably have skipped the spaces and done 400% or something to that effect, but I just dragged it over using that plus arrow onto my shape, and I'm going to zoom here for you. But that attached it to the shape, just like I shared in a previous tutorial about journaling around a circle. And I just need a couple more. And that gives you holes. Now, because these are letter O's, they have they're doubled. They're going to cut both on the inside and the outside of each little O. So I think here I'll zoom in a second to show you. But I'm going to group these all together so that when I here's where I share how they're little letter O's. So I'm going to do an offset so that I get just the outlines of those O's. And I'm going to do an offset of took me a second to remember which one it was, an offset of 0.01. And through my experimentation, this is the perfect size and spacing for the stitches that I did. So now for the flower that goes around it, you can see that it's now going to cut on the line. So I did another offset of 0.1. And that's why I had kept the original shape, so that I could, oops, I realized I hadn't grouped all of these new shadows together, so I need to do that first. And then I'll put them together, and that will allow me to center them both center and in the middle. And then I'm going to do a make compound path. You could also group it. So here I have my little stitch flower. And now I just need to add some leaves to the or some stitch lines to the leaves, and I'll show you how to do that next. And now that I have the shadow off that shape, I no longer need that one. So I'm going to go to the line tool and insert a little tiny line in the my leaf, and that's going to be a straight line, and I'm just going to pull that up side, and I'll zoom in here in a second. But I'm going to curve this line, and I'm going to go over here and click the make curve so that it's not like have a big like L-shaped dent in it like it first did. Then I'm going to just do the same exact process that I did for the flower. I don't need nearly as many holes for this, I discovered. And I will say that I probably should have gone a little slower on these when I made my curve on this line, because I made it a little more curved than I did the first time, and I think I liked it better the first time. I just realized I needed to not delete it, I needed to ungroup it before I could delete that line. Now I'll group them together. I believe you can't do an offset feature unless they're all grouped together, if I recall correctly. And I'm going to do the same 0.01 for the offset. I'll group them back together, and I'm just going to hold it up to the original, and I think I end up tweaking it a little bit with the rotation of it. Now for the second one, I don't have to go to all that trouble again. I can just duplicate the shape and do a flip horizontal function so that I can just twist it a little bit. And just do another make compound path. I was feeling wishy-washy on what color I wanted to turn it to, which is silly because it doesn't actually matter. It's going to be cut from whatever paper I cut it from. But there you have it. Really fun, easy way to add stitch lines. And perfectly spaced, and the same distance from the edge of your shape, and it's just a really fun and easy way to create your own stitching templates.